Jon Jones is back at it. He's calling Tom Aspinall overrated, calling him a quitter, saying that he's very, very simple. He's basic. The man's a quitter. Look at Cyril Gahn, right? He was just getting comfortable. We all know why he's saying this. Obviously, UFC 321, Tom Aspinall got poked in the eye. We've been over this many, many times, so I won't repeat it. Incidentally, Cyril Gahn is back in the gym. He's training again. He's hitting the pads. He's working. So does that mean that we might have news of a rematch pretty soon between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn? Now, Jon Jones has been out there, as we know. He's been having a bit of fun with it. That's according to him. He said, listen, Tom Aspinall was coming at me for the longest time. He was walking around with a duck. He had ducks at fights. He put it in his emoji and all this kind of stuff, okay? So I guess you could say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And Tom Aspinall right now is getting a lot of online. There's a lot of people supporting him, but there's also a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and talking a ton of crap. And obviously Jon Jones, an incredibly popular fighter that's been around forever. He's one of the GOATs. He's got a lot of fans. And a lot of people are going to get on the side of Jon Jones. Simple as that, because they're his fans. And Tom's English and he hasn't been around too long and all that kind of shit, right? But the reality is, he said that Tom Aspinall is incredibly overrated. And he's quite simple. All he has is a good 1-2. That's it. That's all he's got. He's got a good 1-2. It's dangerous. He can knock people out. He got Curtis Blade with it and a bunch of other people. But if you've watched Tom Aspinall, you know that's not true, okay? But he's not overrated. He hasn't got a simple game. The man's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He started doing jiu-jitsu when he was 16 years old. And I'm not trying to do another video here defending Tom Aspinall or taking Tom's side over Jon Jones. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just calling out the facts like I see it. When you look at Tom Aspinall's record, 15 wins, 12 knockouts, 3 submissions. So he's finished all of his fights and he's got 3 submissions on there. One of them was against Alexander Volkov, right? Took him down in the very first round and got him with a straight armbar. Also submitted Andrei Arlovski. Granted, it was towards the end of Andrei Arlovski's run, but to say that the man just has a 1-2, to say that he can't wrestle, to say that he doesn't have a ground game, as we know, that's nonsense, okay? But fair play, Jon Jones is going to come out and talk shit. He also went out and said that Tom Aspinall is a quitter. He pointed to the Cyril Gahn fight, of course. I mean, that's an obvious one. But the worst case scenario kind of happened for Tom Aspinall. If you want to jump on the bandwagon and talk a little bit of crap about Tom and say that he is a quitter, right? What happened last week at the Apex didn't help him because his teammate, Ante D'Elia, who right before the fight happened said, I've had 33 pro fights, I've never poked someone in the eye. He poked Waldo Cortez Acosta in the eye. It was a bad eye poke. Costa was like, he was covering up, he was curled up in a ball and like the referee stepped in for a second. It was a bad eye poke. We saw it on the replay. The fight continued. He said, I want to continue. And then he goes out and knocks out Ante D'Elia, okay? And then, of course, Cortez Acosta called him all kinds of names, used some very, very harsh words and said, listen, I'm not a quitter, you're going to get knocked out. Something like that, I forget.
Espinal, you see the fight, no? I go for you. Be ready, okay?
As I say, that doesn't help Tom's case because it does show that a guy that got poked in the eye, then he chose to continue, and then he knocked out a very dangerous opponent in Ante D'Elia. It didn't help Tom. Now, all eye pokes are different. Just because Cortez Acosta could continue doesn't mean that Tom could. And we knew a few days after the fight with Cyril Gahn that he still couldn't see. And I'm going over some old ground here, but I'm going to get to the new stuff in a minute. To say that the man's a quitter, it's not really fair. And then he talked about the Curtis Blades fight. He said, but the Curtis Blades, he didn't even try and continue. He just went straight to lying on the floor and clutching his leg and kind of howling in agony. Well, I walked into the octagon to speak to Curtis Blades, and Tom Aspinall was on the floor, and he was howling in agony. And it was kind of haunting because he was in a tremendous amount of pain, and he had to have surgery on that leg. And again, to say that he didn't try and fight through it, it's not how these things work. You throw a kick, something happens in your knee, something breaks, a ligament tears, whatever the case is. Just because the guy didn't continue fighting doesn't make him a quitter. The man was in a tremendous amount of pain. It was done. It was over. He was led on the floor. And then, of course, Jon Jones points to another early loss in Tom's career going back to June 2015 when he took on Stuart Austin and he got submitted via a heel hook. Now, if you watch the video, yes, he tapped pretty quickly. He was caught in a heel hook, right? When you're caught in a heel hook, you got two choices. If the heel hook is in, right? If it's in and it's proper, you got to tap. Otherwise, they're going to blow out all the ligaments in your knee. And there's a good possibility that A, you might never fight again. You certainly might be walking funny. You're going to have surgery. You're going to be out for a year, 18 months. And as I said, you may never fight again. Okay? So we tapped. Of course. Now listen, now do you call that being a quitter or do you call it being smart? Now, in training, anytime someone gets a heel hook on me, I always went, well, that's it, tap, tap. In training straight away. Maybe in a fight, you go for it, okay? But to say that the man's a quitter, right? I guess Jon Jones is going to say what Jon Jones is going to say. And I guess, given that Tom went on that campaign for a while with the duck and all the rest of it, then he's having his moment in the sun, right? He's getting a bit of revenge. They say he who laughs last, laughs loudest. Well, that's kind of what he's doing right now, okay? The reality is he wants to come back, which is crazy because he was offered $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall, and it wasn't worth his time. It wasn't worth his time. But then he comes out of retirement. Now he wants to fight Pereira at the White House. He says that Pereira is a household name in mixed martial arts. And what a huge fight that would be. I'm not going to argue with that. It would be a huge fight. It would be a spectacle. And I, for one, would like to see it. Not to mention the fact that, let's be honest, he beat Cyril Gane by taking him down, and he would probably take down Alex Pereira. So it's kind of one of those matchups that would favor Jon Jones. Now, Jones, of course, he's had a legendary career and he is very well-rounded. And yeah, for all those people that are taking Jones' side and talking a little bit towards Tom, yeah, Jones went out there and beat Cyril Gane. He did. He beat him easy. And it did look like Tom was having a tough time in that first round against Cyril Gane. All fights are different. MMA math does not stack up. And I'm not sitting here defending Tom Aspinall. I'm just merely reporting on what Jon Jones said to you, just in case you didn't see it. I'm sure most of you are out there on Twitter, on MMA Twitter, and looking up at all the websites and seeing what's going on and what's being said. Jon Jones basically is talking a ton. And it'd be great if he was going to fight him down the line. But he's not. He's got absolutely no interest. He wants to come back for the White House and he wants to face Alex Pereira. If he was so confident in his ability, he would say, I want to fight on the White House. Give me Alex Pereira. Give me Tom Aspinall. I don't really care because I can beat them all. That's what he should say. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that Tom's a quitter. It does nothing for his legacy. He's got a shining legacy. He has got a tremendous resume. He has beaten generations of champions, but he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, who is the current undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. That would do something for your resume. Again, I'm not attacking Jon Jones. I'm not defending Tom Aspinall. I'm just giving you some thoughts on this whole entire situation. So anyway, is Tom Aspinall a quitter? Is that what you think? Let me know in the comment section if so. Do you agree with Jon Jones? Is Tom Aspinall very simple? Is he incredibly overrated, as Jon Jones says? If you think so, let me know in the comment section. If you think he's not, of course, let me know what you think about that as well. Listen, he's knocking everyone out with 1-2s because that's what works. You know, I'm sure he's got a good jab. I'm sure he's got a good left hook. I'm sure the man can throw an uppercut. We've seen him do double legs. We've seen him submit people. But just because you're knocking someone out with the right hand, just because Sergey Pavlovich was knocking everyone out with right hands, doesn't mean that that's all he's got as well. But to be fair to Jon Jones, he has won in a multitude of ways. He's beaten people with spinning back kicks like he did against Stipe Miocic. He's dismantled people with knees. He's fought them in a phone booth like he did against Glover Teixeira. He's choked people out. He's done it when he's had his toe broken against Vitor Belfort. Or was that Chael Sonnen? One of them anyway. Oh, he was almost in an armbar against Vitor Belfort and he had his toe broken in the first round against Chael Sonnen. So listen, you know, Jones has shown that he's not going to quit, right? And Tom, I guess, according to Jon, is a quitter. I don't think he's a quitter. I don't think he's overrated. That's my 2 cents. But what do you think?